Hey guys, welcome to the T&M podcast with me, Tom.
And me, Mark.
As some of you may have realised, we've been away for a little while. There was a slight incident. If any of you have listened to the previous podcast, you'll know that Mark kept slandering quite a few people. We were meant to have Idris Elba on the show, but he got wind of how Mark was talking about some of his fellow celebrity friends and decided to back out. That in turn had the knock-on effect that corporate essentially said, Mark, you can't do this anymore.
Damn you, corporate.
But they are absolutely raging.
I'm surprised I'm still sitting here, to be
Well,
honest.
I wasn't going to say this to you,
I thought I would
Mark,
have been replaced.
but it was horrendous. I basically went to them and I said, look, if you're gonna get rid of my pal Mark, I said the talent's gonna walk. I said I'm not doing this anymore. I said I'm not doing this anymore without Mark.
Well,
So
unless they find someone with the first letter M.
it's a lot harder than you think around here. So they've said basically Mark's got one more shot. This time tonight you're going to be taking the reins on the show.
That's what I've been told by corporate.
No pressure. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of pressure. Yeah,
There is a lot of pressure.
So
Could
Mark,
go awfully wrong.
Mark's going to be heading this up. The notebook is out. He has been making notes.
Yep.
He's going to structure the show, hit us with loads of information.
So much.
Absolutely none.
So much.
But Mark, over to you, pal.
Well, thank you very much. The topic of today's podcast is remasters and remakes.
Yes.
So I think the key to that is they are very different.
Very different.
Those two things.
But how so, Mark? How are they different?
And that's the first thing I want to cover is what is the difference?
Yeah. What
really?
is?
So I've got a rather drawn out version of what the difference is, but in essence,
Yeah.
the difference is that a remake is the same game
Yeah.
but up-resed. Simply.
That's a remake or a remaster?
Remake.
Are you sure? Because in my
We've
head,
gone through this.
a
Oh my God.
remaster is the upscaling, up-resing.
That's the one. Right, start again.
Jesus, corporate. You may have been onto something.
Alright, I'll cut this out. I'm the one that edits this, remember. Okay, the question on everybody's
Welcome to the TNM podcast.
The question on everybody's lips
Yes.
is what is the difference between a remake and a remaster? Right, it's clearly what everyone's thinking about.
What is the difference, Mark? I must
But I've
know.
been trying to figure this out, right, and I got it wrong previously in another life. Right, simply put, a remaster is the same game but up-resed.
It sounds 100% correct.
Also, they sometimes throw in the DLC that was included.
Oh, so giving you a
in
little
the
bit
older
more,
games.
giving you a little bit more for
Yes,
your money.
Exactly. Nintendo being the kings of that. And a remake is a brand new ground up version of that game or that franchise.
So they may have changed sort of the layout of the levels, the design, how it looks, how it controls.
Exactly.
Basically, they've taken the whole concept and they've done a fresh, fresh look at it.
And generally, I don't know really. Which would you say are the ones that go wrong the most? Like,
Ooh, that's a very good question.
there's a lot of good and bad ones. I mean, there's not that many bad ones really.
I would say that it depends on the game that's being remastered or remade.
Yeah.
Some games that are older games, their controls and camera angles and things like that, they still stand up today.
Yeah.
So they're not fundamentally broken.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the other ones, you can put a new lick of paint on them, but they are really bad. Like they're still difficult to relate to now that we're playing with games where they're so good. They're so the quality of gaming has obviously,
especially around controls, like they've nailed it now.
Yeah.
Really, compared to controls back in the day. And
Yeah.
things like, if you think about the way Resident Evil handled the first one, it was hard work, right?
Well, I played the remaster of the first Resident Evil, and it actually gave you the option to switch between the two.
Nice.
So you could have the new, the old control scheme, if you like, and the new
camera that actually follows you.
Yeah, and I played it for ages with the original, and then
with the static camera.
I'm pretty sure it was. And then someone said in the chat, you can switch it. Yeah, what are you doing? You fool. Get with the times. You can change it.
Yeah.
But I actually think. I think with that game we tinkered with it a couple of times. I actually preferred playing it with the old control.
Really?
Yeah, the old control style.
Maybe it's old habits, with a game like that where you spent a lot of time on it.
Possibly, if you haven't changed anything about the game other than the controls, then it might just be a case of the new doesn't fit with the old.
Yeah.
So the the way that the way that the camera angles have been made to you should be looking at it from this angle, that angle. With a new control scheme that's a bit tighter, you're probably not going to get the same experience.
And with Resident Evil, there was some of the scenes where the camera angle actually added to the effect of it being scary, right? So there was sometimes where you'd walk through a corridor and not realise that there was a zombie right in front of you. As soon as you walked to the
couldn't see it because the camera couldn't move.
Exactly. You walk to the next scene, next camera, and it's like, oh my god, it's literally right in front of you.
Yeah.
So that kind of added to it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas the Resident Evil 2, the latest,
was ground up, wasn't it?
That was ground up.
Yeah.
So they changed a lot about that game. They changed, how it looked, how it handled. They changed parts of the actual game itself. So the puzzles were different, similar to what they were before, but the puzzles were different.
Yeah.
So that you couldn't just sort of go straight into it and know everything about the game.
But they nailed that, right?
Oh, that was a great game.
Strangely,
I loved that. I played through that and played it as Leon and as Claire. And I loved the first playthrough with Leon. And then when you played through, you could obviously at the start, I think you could choose. So I could have done it with Claire, and I'm sure at the start, if I'd chosen her, I would have really enjoyed that more.
Yeah.
But I felt like my only criticism of that was that once you play through with Leon, playing through it as Claire, and I'm sure, like I said, it would be the same if it was the other way around. It just didn't have the same effect. It kind of I felt like when I was playing that second character, there wasn't enough of a difference in the story that I was
very similar.
Very similar. I just felt like I'm just kind of doing the same. I'm kind of going through the paces, doing the same thing. But
so did you know how to solve some stuff because you've done it already, or was it a case of
there was a few
just
elements,
the same ground?
A few elements of that, but it just more so it felt. I don't know. I wasn't as engaged. I was really, really engaged with the first bit, and then once I got to his story and had to read, I don't know if that's more to do. That's not so much to do with the remake as such, but I would have maybe looked at that a little bit more.
If you'd made the story almost completely different, but it was the same overarching story. But made her version
a lot different.
Yeah.
That was only my only slight gripe there, but I loved it, and I hope they continue to. Hopefully they'll remake 3 and 4 and just go through it. That they should do.
No doubt. So it's kind of it's a bit contentious, I think, with so many remakes and remasters coming out, and they have done over the past couple of years more.
It seems like they've picked up.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so we've had like the whole Crash series, CTI, all that stuff, Spyro, and kind of they're bringing back all those old franchises from the PS1
the
days.
old kind of mascots.
Exactly.
Familiar faces.
Yeah. And things like
which we've touched on mascots before. If you want to hear about that, go back to the previous podcast.
Can't remember which episode.
Nah, you'll find it. There's not that many of them yet. You'll be able to find it. All right. But Crash was amazing.
Yeah.
I've played through the entire trilogy.
Hard as nails.
Well,
originally and now.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
did you not struggle
we did
with
the entire trilogy in 12 hours? No, sorry, 10 hours for the.
Wow.
For charity stream, for Extra Life. First charity stream
if you want to watch that, go back.
But yeah, we did that whole trilogy and I loved it. And the reason I did that was because I'd already played it before in a head-to-head competition thing and enjoyed it so much that when I knew I was going to do a 12-hour charity stream, that is the first thing I wanted to play.
Right.
Really enjoyed it.
The bridge seemed to be the bit that everyone struggled with.
Yeah, see, I did it. I didn't realise that I never knew there was a cheat for that.
Is it a cheat for that?
I say a cheat. It's like a secret. If you jump on the ropes, you can run along
Oh, you're joking.
The sides of the bridge.
No way.
Yeah, you still have to. There's an element of skill. 'Cause you have to jump perfectly to get onto them.
Yeah.
But as long as you get on at the right angle, you can do that. I didn't do it in the head-to-head, and then someone said afterwards, "What are you doing? You could have done that."
Yeah.
So I did it in the. We did do it in the charity show, but. That trilogy, it looked stunning. It handled amazingly. I think I'm right. I could be wrong, but I think they amended the controls to be all like the third or second Crash. They basically, rather than having the control scheme be different as it was, for the different generations, they just went with one across all
one
three.
That worked probably.
Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3. I can't remember which one it was. They ended up being on. I loved that. It was such a good trilogy. Yeah. Really, really good.
So, thinking about along those lines now, the topic of the next section of the podcast is good and bad.
Okay.
So, what I want you to do to start us off is name one really good remake or remaster.
Okay.
Like one that you're like, that was amazing. I
feel like I've just done that with Crash, haven't I? I've really ruined that section.
Did a bit of that, but another one.
Okay. One I can think of off the top of my head, which was bad. I say bad. It's harsh to say bad because obviously it's not really bad. Or what frustrated me was I played the Devil May Cry HD collection.
Yeah.
And I remember loving the games when I was younger. Playing through the HD collection. Oh my god, I was so frustrated. The camera angles were just awful.
Oh my god.
Especially in the first and I want to say the second one. It was horrifically frustrating. Really bad, to the point where I was like, I don't want to be. I don't want to be doing this. The element of skill is going out the window here. I'm just jumping around trying to make the camera go to where I want it to go.
Yeah, no one wants to do that.
No, and that was just a remaster. So they basically just up-resed everything to HD to make it look nicer.
Right. Okay.
I don't believe, to my knowledge, anything else was changed. I don't think so. Again. Correct us in the comments and stuff after the show if I'm wrong, but I don't believe anything was. What about you? Can you think of a bad
one? Was bad. So I think it was Sonic 2006. I never actually bought it, but I played it. Where did I play that? I think I played it at someone's house or something.
Crikey, if you can remember what you were doing in 2006.
Oh my god.
Do you know what's really weird?
No chance.
I know exactly what I was doing in 2006.
13 years ago.
I was in America at 2006.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What, Camp America?
Yeah.
You would, because you were already camped back in that.
I was, yeah. Well, I still am now, slightly. It's weird that you say that. Just come into my head because I remember I was looking at
the same year, Sonic 2006.
Yeah.
Was,
who knew?
Yeah.
I wasn't playing video games at that stage.
Yeah. So it was on the PS3, Xbox 360. That was that stage.
Yeah.
And they'd kind of tried their hardest to remake. Or remake, I can't even remember. I just remember it being downright awful.
In what way? In controls?
Controls, graphics. I think they just tried too hard, like to bring Sonic back to the fold, and it was just a bit like cynical almost. Yeah. That's what I remember of it. But I haven't played a remake or remaster that I've considered really awful for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think I've played loads.
Yeah.
If I kind of think about it.
Yeah.
There's been loads of them. So it's quite interesting, really, that they've seemingly started to be able to just nail them.
Yeah.
And there's
That's an email from corporate just checking that Mark is.
Just making sure I'm on track.
Mark's doing what he's been told.
Alright, well now that you've done one bad, can you remember one that you would consider
now
really
I'm trying
good?
to think of...
Well, you mentioned Shadow of the Colossus. Was that? Would you consider that? I don't know if you played the original. Did you play the original?
I didn't play the original. I enjoyed it though. I really enjoyed it.
You were frustrated during that though.
I was frustrated during
the camera
that. Again,
angles,
I've got quite a few issues with cameras.
Yeah, well, it's not surprising.
No, with a face like this. I hate cameras.
But these old games, like they weren't notoriously bad from a camera angle perspective.
Yeah. I do remember playing that and thinking, again, this isn't me saying it's a bad game. It's not. I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah.
But there were elements in that where it was just like, oh, oh man, like why?
Yeah.
Why? Surely
I
you
remember
must.
watching you stream it, and you were just like, oh, I can't see.
Yeah,
like,
surely you must be playing this, testing this, thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I always do it when I'm sat there playing a game and something infuriates me.
Yeah.
I think I'm not the first person playing this. This has I've gone through God knows how many testers.
Yeah.
How is no one else has gone back and said, you know what, that's a little bit annoying.
Yeah. Can we just zoom out a bit?
Keith over there in the corner don't look like he's doing much. Can we just drag him for 5 minutes, get him to go over the camera angles a little bit?
I do wonder if they only test certain parts of the game, or whether there's someone that literally plays it end to end.
Oh, they have to play it end to end.
Surely, but there may be an element of does it go left? Does it go right? Does it go forward? Do you know what I mean? The real stupid basics of testing. Because I know from experience of testing, working with testers in my world in IT, where they will test every little bit, but it's very kind of it's very purposeful with the things that they're testing, the individual little things.
They're looking for specific
exactly
things.
Like when you press jump, does he jump straight away? Or that's the kind of stuff I wonder whether they test all that for, I don't know, 10 minutes and then they go, it's fine.
And that would kind of the A button works.
Yeah, it works.
That is probably something that maybe as games have gotten bigger.
Yeah.
So like nowadays we very, very rarely, I can't remember a time where a game hasn't come out and you hear the words day one patch.
Yeah.
Or patches coming.
Yeah.
Because I can understand to that point. Maybe some of these games are big open world games, sandbox games. They're huge. I don't genuinely fault that. I think I mean, there are limitations. Bethesda is sort of known for their open world games to being absolutely terribly
buggy mess. Yeah.
There is a limit, obviously.
Yeah.
But I can understand that more because, like you said, to go through every single thing. But these remasters, they're off old games, and the old games aren't that big. Shadow of the Colossus is not a massive game.
No, but also think how much a game like that's been played. And how many comments there'll be online about that game.
Yeah.
So if there is a problem, I'm sure the camera angles was probably a problem back when it was on the PS2.
Exactly.
So how's that not been dealt
transitioned?
with? Yeah. So they've probably literally just lifted and shifted it.
Yeah.
Up-resed. I don't think they did that with Shadow of the Colossus, so I think they did a lot more. I think it was.
Oh yeah, they did. The company. I think that game's been redone around the time. I remember an article about that, about how many times that game has been. It's not its first rodeo. It's not its first rodeo in the remaster realms.
Yeah.
I think it's gone through. I think it's been done quite a few times.
The rounds.
Yeah, it has done the rounds.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't realise it had been done before that. I thought it was literally PS2 straight to PS4.
I'm sure it has. We'll be able to find out. Well, I mean, the people will probably tell us. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it has been done.
So one thing I kind of want to touch on is Nintendo.
Okay.
Right. So from my perspective, Nintendo are the kings of remasters. Right. They take the piss with remasters, and it annoys the shit out of me. As I've pointed out on this podcast many times, Nintendo from the Wii U to the Switch, that transition.
Yeah.
It's just so cynical. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Like it's so obvious what they've done. They realised that actually Mario Kart 8 was a damn good game, right?
Yeah.
No matter what console it was on, it was a very, very good game. It's very polished, very clean, really well made. And the remaster for the Switch was like actually graphically probably no different whatsoever, because the Wii U could output a 1080p. So there's no difference there.
Yeah.
Right. They had to do some stuff because of the handheld mode, but. All they did was they literally just grabbed the DLC and they said, "You'll get this for free."
So in that Nintendo accent as well.
You'll get this for free. So they did that with Mario Kart. Then they did it with Smash Brothers, and they've done it with a couple of. It sounds like there's Kirby coming as well, Epic Yarn.
Yeah.
Which I bought for the Wii U as well.
Yeah. What I love is that you always buy them. You still buy them.
I've stopped.
Oh,
honestly, I haven't bought
Kirby's the last one now.
In ages.
Kirby will be the last.
I haven't bought Kirby remastered.
He's definitely gonna. He will definitely buy Kirby.
I didn't buy Smash
Oh, did you not?
No, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was like,
good for you, Mark.
Yeah, I'm happy with myself. So Nintendo.
Everyone else is out there enjoying Smash. Mark's just sat in his house.
But the funny thing is, on the Wii U, they did a load of remasters or remakes. No, remasters. Sorry, I'm losing the plot.
That's all right.
Things like Wind Waker, right?
Yeah.
So, but Wind Waker was a massive uplift,
right,
and up-res, because originally on the GameCube it was like square output and looking crap and whatever.
Yeah,
and
I haven't played half the Nintendo games that Mark has played, so I'll try and get involved as much as I can.
Wind Waker, like the difference between the two games is massive.
Yeah,
like it looks amazing on the Wii U.
Didn't it go into like a more sort of cell shady sort of...
Yeah, Wind Waker was
Wind Waker, yeah,
cell shaded.
If I'm trying to remember the right order. It's been quite a few.
I should just lend you my Wii U with a few games and you can play it on.
Oh,
that's a good shout.
Good shout, that is.
Because you could play it on Twitch really easily. Something like Wind Waker is a classic. So
yeah.
But they also did Twilight Princess, Zelda, and then a couple of others. But they did an amazing job of that. But they haven't actually done that on the Switch yet. They haven't done like those classic games remade until now.
Now you're gonna get
until now.
Which one is it? Is it Link to the Past that's coming?
Link's Awakening, but we're jumping ahead of ourselves.
Link's Awakening. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Hey, when it comes to the order of the show.
Hey, you're in charge. I'm just along for the ride. I'm just along for the ride.
Oh god. So I think, in my eyes, Wind Waker HD is my real great game that was remastered. Beautiful. Did a great job of it.
Yeah, I still need to answer that question. Didn't answer it from earlier. Kind of did with the Resident Evil 2 and Crash.
So
but
I think Crash counts as your
we'll just say that
super good one. Yeah,
Wind Waker.
But yeah, Wind Waker. I played it on the GameCube. I didn't play it all the way through because I'm rubbish at playing games all the way through on the GameCube. But I played it all the way through on the Wii U. I actually did it on stream a long time ago, and it was just amazing. Like a fantastic game. Bugged the hell out of me because there was things I couldn't do, and no one would help me on stream, and I was like just stuck. I was like, come on guys. And they were just laughing at me, literally just laughing at me having a meltdown, and I was like, right, I'm going to the toilet, and I've read up on how to do it.
Put that Be Right Back sign up on the screen.
But
Mark's got really good at this all of a sudden. And he's taken a lot of toilet breaks.
Yeah, what?
Definitely so wrong with his bladder.
So many toilet breaks. It's so weird. But they did. I just remembered another one, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Yeah.
They did on the Switch. Looked exactly the same from the Wii U to the Switch. There's no difference. But yeah, they're the kings. I just needed to give them a mention because they're the kings of remasters.
What was it in my eyes? What was it you loved about the remaster of it? Like, what was the main thing that you enjoyed the most about it?
I think just the fact that it was so well up-res. Like, it just looked perfect, and it looked like it was made for the Wii U. Do you know what I mean? It's just beautiful. You wouldn't think it was originally a...
It wasn't so much about the game itself being changed anyway. Like, you know, how we said some of the old games had bad camera angles and stuff like that.
I mean,
everything about that game was left untouched, other than the fact that it was just given sort of a modern look. Yeah.
So I mean, camera wise and stuff like that, it was fine. Like, it was a very good game. Anyway, it's very well made. But yeah, I think it's interesting that as to what Nintendo are doing and what they've done over the years. It's just so they just made money for old road, basically.
And I think that people, I mean, as consumers, I
understand it, because there's a whole host of people that bought the Switch that didn't have a Wii U.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of good games there, really good games, that didn't get the coverage that it should have done. So actually Mario Kart 8 is a good example where it was an amazing game on the Wii U, but not many people have Wii U's. So.
Do you also think, and I don't know, obviously we kind of say Nintendo's more of, it's not, but we say that Nintendo's more of a family kids console, and PlayStation and Xbox have got that sort of teenage to adult feel to their marketing, whatever, which is slightly different now with the old mascots being remastered and remade and stuff. But do you feel that is something as well that they do, because they know that people that say, like, if you played you played Wind Waker, and you loved it, and then say 5-10 years down the line, new console, up-res, and you might want your, anyone who's out there with their kids who are now 10 years old or whatever, and you instantly go, I want you need to see this. You need to experience that as well, and they tap into that well, because it's not normally like 5 to 10.
But there needs to be another generation in between, I feel.
Yeah.
So those Wii U games should have had Switch and then another, and been remade on the next one.
Right. Okay.
Being the next generation, it feels too soon for all those people. But I get it. With the Wii U, it's a bit different because there wasn't many sold.
Yeah. So they were able to sort of bridge that gap.
And they get away with it because of that.
Yeah.
So people are like, "Ooh, Mario Kart 8 on the Switch, brilliant." Yeah. And then like, I've got it. And it's like, what? I didn't know that came out.
Looking at 6 different shelves, 6 different boxes on the shelf of previous ones.
And people are literally like, I didn't even know that came out.
Yeah.
The Wii, what? Is that an add-on to the Wii? No.
Trying to shove it in the Wii.
I had that conversation so many times. Good. Well, we covered good and bad. That was a good section.
Great section,
It's
Mark.
dragged a little bit.
I know, I enjoyed that section. I won't hear any negative feedback about that section. It was a great section. What section do you have for us next?
The next section is, what game would you like to see remastered or remade that hasn't been?
Okay.
Yeah. So you go first.
To our knowledge, hasn't been. Yeah. Just in case. Just covering ourselves. I did make a short list.
Oh, did you?
I think I did.
Yes, you did.
Page 4
at the bottom there.
Do you know what's really helpful is when I dictate to Mark and then he does everything in shorthand.
You can figure that out.
Absolutely no idea.
Right, the last word in that one is time. Of
Ocarina.
There you go.
Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
I would love to. I know we said that because I don't own a Switch, but I was if money had allowed, if I hadn't had the money for it, with the new Zelda, the latest Zelda, out.
What, Breath of the Wild?
Breath of the Wild. That made me think, I would maybe get a Switch, but there's not enough games on there.
Unpopular opinion time, I don't like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, a couple of... Do you know what? It's really weird. I've heard a couple of people say that
People
since.
will kill me for that.
No,
I did not enjoy
you're
it.
not... I don't think you're alone. There are other people out there who say the same thing.
Yeah.
Jamie hates everything.
He hates everything.
He hates absolutely everything.
Loves Fortnite.
We can say that because he hates this podcast. He's not going to listen
never
to it.
listens to it.
It's good. But yeah, I if that came back, I would... Part of me would think, I've got to give it a go.
There is a fan of the game, who is remastering Ocarina of Time as we speak, and it's fan made, so obviously it takes a long time. But he's managed to do, I think, 2 of like the levels, areas, and it's stunning. I will show you it later.
You have to send me a link to it.
So it's not official, so it doesn't really count. But there is a guy out there doing it in, I think it's Unreal Engine.
Oh, there's some like underground. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Real clever people out there.
But you can play it. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's a playable demo. So yeah, pretty impressive.
I
will show you.
I'll look forward to seeing it. So, but yeah, that's the one that I would like to.
What about Ocarina would you want it remastered or remade? Like, would you like a whole new take on it, or do you just want the same game?
I would like it like you had for Wind Waker. So I'd like it up-resed and to the max and looking amazing. Yeah. Same game. Yeah. I wouldn't want anything to change because I would want in a weird way, because I know it's going to look different, but I want the nostalgia feels of remembering what I did, throughout that game. But at the same time, I feel like that game has got everyone in gaming, of a certain age obviously, knows that game. You can say like the game to 90% of people and they'll know what you're talking about. Yeah. And I would just love to see that get so much attention and care that it's come back in a big way, which we don't know. You may still get to see it. I don't know, but yeah.
I don't know with Nintendo. It's funny, they seem to have done every other game apart from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. They seem to be.
I think part of me thinks maybe they hold on to things.
They might do.
I think if it all goes west, we've got this still. It's probably already done. It's probably in a cupboard somewhere. Keith in the corner of the office is holding on to it. He's got the copy of it.
He's in the corner licking
just
the cartridges.
waiting for that day. Every day someone comes in and he's like, "Is it today?" And they're like, "No, Keith, sit back down again.
Sit down, shut up. Have a bourbon."
Have a bourbon. But yeah, that would be my one. What would your one be?
I think for me it has to be Dead Space.
Oh, I love that game.
Amazing game.
Love that game.
And it looked good anyway. Like that's that kind of PS3 era, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was that time. And I had it on. I've got it on PC, so I've kind of you can up-res it a bit anyway.
Yeah.
In the settings, but
so you're saying just up-resed or?
I don't know with that. It's almost like I want a sequel, but I want it to be the same as Dead Space 1. So a remaster of Dead Space 1 would be amazing, right? Because I think graphically it was good, but it wasn't like what it could be.
Yeah.
And you'd love to see it like in 4K, beautiful visuals. Yeah, it would look amazing. But that game just was so good. And that, to anyone listening, like if you haven't played Dead Space,
do play it. You
have to play it.
It's one of those atmospheric. For me. It's up there as probably one of the greatest, my favourite games ever. Because I remember thinking, it was released at a time when Resident Evil, there was no Resident Evils around, and it fit perfectly into that sort of atmospheric horror, survival. Slight puzzle elements. It was just brilliant. It was so good.
I've run out of ammo again.
Yeah. Well, okay, then I'll break.
Again.
Yeah, but you could then break a limb off, couldn't you? Could. That was the beauty of it. If you then took the limbs, you could throw them like spears. So good. Pinning enemies to walls.
Yeah.
I'd love to play that game again. I really would love to play that game again.
Yeah.
And to be fair, a lot of people said, I know it got a little bit actiony. But in my memory, I don't remember hating 2 and 3.
So everyone,
it was generally they did get to 3. Which
the general opinion is that Dead Space 1 and 2 are amazing.
Yeah, and then
in Dead Space 3 it went south.
3 was entirely co-op.
That was the co-op one.
Yeah. But I don't remember hating that. I thought it was still good.
Did you have someone good to play it with though, or?
I don't even remember who I co-oped that with. I really can't remember.
It might have helped. It might have been someone that was actually decent at video games.
It may have been, yeah.
If you'd done it with me, you would have been screaming.
If that comes back, you hear it here first. If that comes back as a remaster or remake, whatever, I will co-op that all day with you. That would be hilarious.
I will drive you up the wall.
I will buy both copies. I will do whatever it takes to play that. That would be so funny.
Oh my God.
But yeah, no, great shout with Dead Space.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic game.
Alright, I think we should be allowed one more. One more. So you're allowed, if you can see it there, can you see it on the pad? Because I can't believe you've forgotten.
Oh no, I changed it though, didn't I? Because.
Oh, did you?
We did, because I realised that has actually it was pointed out to me. So full disclosure.
Was it? And no, it wasn't any of those.
To be full disclosure, I know which one it was. Full disclosure, about 30 seconds before we went live, I said to Mark, I love Earthworm Jim remake.
No, but I didn't. That wasn't really.
I wanted it all. There has been a remaster, basically.
Remaster, and it wasn't a very.
2010, did you say it was?
Something like that, yeah.
So it's still about 10 years ago. But I would love a whole reboot.
I think you're thinking of a remake, like a
ground up.
Yeah.
Earthworm Jim coming back in a big way.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love that.
Can you imagine it in a proper 3D?
Oh, it'd just be awesome.
Platformer,
just
like so Mario
cool. style. It was such a good game. Really cool ideas in that game as well. I'd love that. I'd like to see Banjo-Kazooie.
Yes, very good shout.
There's so many.
Well, it's
the
funny
problem
with
is you start listing off your favourite games. That's the problem.
There was a game released, wasn't there, that was very very similar to Banjo, and it was
was it Ukulele?
Yeah, Ukulele. Yeah. That's it. And it was a lot of the same people
did it. Yeah.
Made Ukulele that made Banjo, and it's a shame that they couldn't just do Banjo. Like, I think because of the rights and everything.
Who's giving them the clearance?
Yeah, so they made Ukulele, which was very similar. Didn't actually. I mean, it didn't set the world alight. There was a lot of people really enjoyed it and what have you. But there's a lot of people out there just like, ugh.
I never played it, so
didn't enjoy it.
No
So,
idea.
But a proper banjo.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'd like banjo. What about yourself?
I did have another one that I think was, Manhunt is as you admitted to, it's a game you've not played before.
I haven't played. I know of Manhunt.
It's sacrilege that you haven't played that.
I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of the same game where it's basically lunatics just running around.
Just walk around and murder people, and the thing that was hilarious about Manhunt, it was the gameplay elements of it were amazing because you would never just go and attack people like outright. If you started to do that, there'd be tons of them on you and you'd be dead in seconds, right? You had to sneak. It was all sneaky, right? So you had to sneak behind people, and the longer you stood behind them, the gorier the death would be.
Oh man, this sounds horrendous.
It's so good because you have to sneak up right standing behind them, right? And you have...
I'm never turning my back on you again.
You have different weapons. So you start off, your weapon from the start is a plastic bag. Right. So you sneak up behind the guy, and if you do it with it changes colour basically, and when you get to red, it's like the goriest death. So you want to get it to that, right?
Yeah.
The first one is like you put the bag over the head and you punch them a few times in the head. The second one I can't remember. They were all different. Right. But anyway, it was so gruesome. There was so much outcry about that game. It's like Mortal Kombat and then Manhunt, like the two that everyone went nuts about. But I would love to see just full-on gore fest.
Yeah.
Now.
Like over the top, like
massively over the top, and like to the point where people are like, you shouldn't be playing that. Like, do you know what I mean? That's what would be amazing. But
do you want to see the game more, or do you want to see just the public outrage?
I want to see both in equal.
Like some sort of diabolical mastermind sitting there like, ooh, I know what will really get the press going. The Manhunt remade.
Oh my god. And the funny thing is with Manhunt, they made Manhunt 2 on the Wii. I don't think it was just released on the Wii, but I remember it on the Wii. And it was terrible because it was all censored and stuff. It was like awful.
Oh right.
And everyone was like, what the hell, this isn't Manhunt.
Well, like blurred.
There was a lot of blurred and just stupid. Yeah. To the point where you're just like, what's
Seems like an odd game for the Wii though.
I know, completely.
That's a random one for Nintendo.
Yeah.
I know they're changing now with the Switch with Doom and Wolfenstein and everything else, but that seems like a really... You wouldn't put those two together. That'd be like a Disney game being really gory and bloody and horrible.
But no, that I would love to see that, and I think it would introduce a whole set of a new generation to the loveliness of gore that is Manhunt. During our initial discussions, I think we had a bit of a mixed opinion of one game that could be remade.
Yes.
And that is GoldenEye.
Yeah, we did have a mixed opinion on this.
So so Tom didn't want it to be remade, and I did. Right? So what makes you not want it to be remade?
I don't want GoldenEye anywhere near me again, for the reason that I loved that game as a kid. I've got so many great memories of playing, all the cheat modes on, playing with your mates, split screen, doing the levels normally, trying to find the cheats to get to that island that you could never get to the first level.
Slaps only.
After going back to what I was saying about Devil May Cry, after going back and playing that HD boosted up and hating the camera angles and stuff, I can only imagine what will happen to my mind trying to use that old control scheme. And I don't even think you could do, because the old N64 controller, the
N64 was single analog.
You're so unique. I don't think you could, but I don't want to ruin it. That was my point. My point was, if they remastered it and just up-resed it and made it look, but kept everything the same, I don't know if my mind could handle that control anymore.
I tell you what's really funny. I've played GoldenEye quite a few times on my PC, just using the ROM and playing it illegally. No, legally, because I've got the game, so it's fine. You're allowed to play ROMs if you've got the game. Anyway. So I've played it loads of times, and obviously with the emulators on PC you can map the controller.
So you're using keyboard and mouse?
No, I've used a controller. I've used like an Xbox controller in my PC, and you can map the controller buttons. Right? Okay. So you can say I want A to be A or whatever.
Well, you would want A. Of course, you want A to be A. Yeah.
So that kind of thing.
You're not a lunatic. You want A to be B.
Unless you're Nintendo, because A and B are the other way around.
That's true.
But it's interesting because you can program both analog sticks, and you can program the right analog stick to be the C buttons. You remember the yellow C buttons on the
the top. Were they the top? Where were they?
On the right.
Right.
On the right, yeah. So very, very odd placement of them. But you can program the second analog stick to be that.
Right.
It kind of works. It kind of works, but there's an element of it's all over the shop. So you
already, I'm not gonna lie, I would find it too.
It's so hard to get the controls working with a normal controller. Yeah. Because it was.
Do you reckon that's one of the reasons why they've never bothered?
Maybe.
Or could they?
You would have to remake it.
If you remade it, I'd be on board if they remade it into modern day. You know, like your.
Well, they did Rogue Agent, didn't they?
But then is that going to break it? Does that then break your whole memory of the game?
Yeah, probably.
Because then you're just playing another shooter that's got that control scheme.
And you think of like. When when it zoomed around you and then came into your head, the camera did, and like you saw his big blocky head.
Yeah.
Like if that was all looking great, would you be like, "Wait, this is a completely different game"?
It's not fun anymore, is it?
Yeah, and if the guys the NPCs running around looked normal rather than looking like blocks of cheese, and maybe you'd be like, "Oh, this is just like playing Call of Duty or something."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, ugh.
Which is back to my point. Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Just don't do anything with it. You watch now. As soon as we finish recording, there'll be a big announcement on Twitter that it's coming out.
Yeah, probably. But there is, as I mentioned to you before, there's a fan-made. So very similar to what I was saying about Ocarina of Time. Yeah. There's a fan-made version of GoldenEye, and they'd remade all the levels, like remastered them or whatever, just from ground up. They'd just literally done everything again, and they'd used all the same guns, all the same characters, everything was the same, but just looking like it was in Unreal Engine or whatever.
Yeah, it's always the one they go to.
Amazing,
Unreal,
yeah,
it's always.
Yeah. And I played that. I played it a fair amount. I was rubbish at it, but it was really tough. I don't know why.
Same controls or new controls?
No, it was all brand new.
All new
controls. Like as though it was a new game. You know what I mean? And that worked brilliantly, but it didn't feel like GoldenEye, like you say.
Yeah.
The only thing that made it feel like GoldenEye was the sound.
Okay.
So the music and the sound effects.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You think of like the silencer sound is very unique, and like some of the gunshot sounds and stuff, and like the noise of the alarms and.
That was an alarm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Just making sure
that was
everyone
when
knows.
The only time you would hear that is when you let them set the alarm off. Like.
Oh yeah, I like the challenge. I used to lead one with my gun over to the alarm panel and say, "Hey you, press that alarm switch. Come on, need more of your boys here to shoot."
When you shot them.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, but the sounds are the bit that makes a lot of games. Like they're the bits you remember. It's like Abe's Odyssey is a good example.
Yeah.
With sound,
another one that's been remastered or remade, and now they've got another new.
Yeah.
I believe it's a new game entirely. I think that's coming.
Yeah, and I thought the last one was a new game entirely. I don't remember it being.
I'm sure there is definitely was a.
I think there was
remaster,
right.
HD remake or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah. So no, it's that's a good example, Abe's, but everyone remembers the sound effects from Abe's. You know what I mean? And follow me. That's.
I wasn't even going to attempt it. I'm so glad that you did though.
Wow. Oh, I love it.
Do you know what would be a great segment? I'm not telling you how to run your show because you've got the power. You've got the touch. We should do a segment next time where we just make noises.
Just make noises, right? So you're taking control again next one.
Oh, don't worry.
If corporate says
well, I'll have a word with corporate about that. We should have a segment where we just make noises from games. And you have to guess what game it is.
That's amazing.
Guess what game?
I'm fully on board.
Guess the game.
Yes,
that's what the segment's going to be called.
And we could even try and recreate the music.
Oh,
so not just sound effects.
Yeah. Crikey.
See, I've got the Ocarina of Time music in my head, but I couldn't.
I've got Halo.
I couldn't say it. I couldn't do it out loud. I couldn't make the noises to. I couldn't sing it.
No.
Hum it, whatever.
I've got Halo. Go straight to Halo.
Really?
Yeah, straight there. Oh god, that's gonna be distracting
You've got the GoldenEye alarm in your head, haven't you?
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
I'm very talented. I can pull off both of those.
So talented. So I think we've probably got one more section.
Oh, there's another section.
One last section before we go on to community feedback and blah blah blah.
Okay.
So the last section I wanted to touch on is something I've mentioned a couple of times within this, is the idea of fan made. I don't know how much you've sort of picked up on any of the fan made.
Not a lot. I've seen a few bits when they've been highlighted on on a Twitter feed or it's popped up in YouTube recommended or whatever like that. Yeah. But I've not searched out or not seeked out any fan made stuff.
Yeah. So I think that world is mental. Like there's people out there spending days and days and weeks remaking a game or from scratch.
But what can they do with that? Because they can't sell it. So is it purely just? Do you think a lot of people do this as projects to then use as a CV kind of thing to say, oh look, I've done this, or?
Well, advertising revenue as well. If you're doing that and getting away with it on YouTube, for example, putting clips of it up, don't know. I don't know because it won't be recognised as the game unless the music is there. Right. So if they're not necessarily putting the same music on, a lot of these guys will remake the music as well. Clip clop, clip clop, clip clop. I've just got Ocarina of Time, the horse going across the field.
It's the one noise that you get out of the Ocarina of Time. The game is focused around Ocarina that makes noises, and you've gone for
the intro to Ocarina of Time is the horse running across the field.
It is
stunning.
Also, any other game that has a horse in it.
Red Dead.
Oh dear.
Oh god. But yeah, the other bit I wanted to touch on is just what do you think of the stuff that limited run games are doing? Do you know much about that?
Tell me more.
Do you really? You haven't that's not come into your...
I may know what you're talking about as you start talking about it.
Okay, so there's a company called Limited Run Games, and they bring games that were on N64 or whatever console back in the day, the NES, and they'll bring them onto the Switch, for example. Right. The Switch has got a lot of these games, but they're only digital. So it's all about the physical game, yeah. So they'll sell a special edition of, what was the last one I actually bought? So I bought it was Star Wars, the NES version. I think I bought. Right. But so they've completely remade the cartridge and everything else and done it all new packaging. No, it's all brand new. Oh, right. But special edition ones, and they only sell so many of them.
So they'll sell it digitally, and then they'll say, right, there's 200 copies of this out there that are going physical.
They won't sell it digital, no. Oh. They only sell physical.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so they'll physically remake an N64 cartridge, for example. Yeah.
I have never heard of this.
So then, what a lot of things that they've done is they've brought games from back in the day onto new consoles or whatever. Right. So I think it was they did a Night Trap special edition on the Switch.
Right. Okay.
And at that stage, it wasn't on the Switch. Do you know what I mean? So they're bringing games from back in the day onto the new consoles. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm saying. But because it hasn't come into your realms and you haven't seen any of this, it kind of doesn't really mean anything.
Well, no, it does mean a lot to me. And also, you've got to remember, Mark, I'm not the only one here. Thousands of people are listening at the moment. Thousands of people. And it might mean something to them. So please do not make this all about me. These are limited edition runs, so they would make games from back in the day, put them onto new consoles, which they shouldn't really be, never intended to be on, but they'd only make a limited amount of them, or for a limited amount of time.
It's a limited amount of them.
So is it more of a collector's thing then?
It is.
Right, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. So they'll do a collector's edition that has like vinyl with it, with the soundtrack on, and little models and stuff all in one big box. And it's really cool. It's definitely worth looking at if you get a chance. But a lot of PS4 stuff. They bring a lot of stuff to PS4. So they did Night Trap PS4 as well, and there was a physical copy. I don't know how
I've not heard anything about it.
Yeah.
I don't, to be honest, I'm not a massive... I have got people in the community who are big into collecting, so they may, even if they don't know about it, it'd be great to let them know about it. But I don't really collect a lot. Like, I'm not one of those gamers who has to get the limited edition, special editions.
Yeah.
For the figures and that kind of thing. But it sounds awesome. It sounds like a really
it's really good.
Thing.
Definitely worth checking out. But it's a really great way to spend lots of money.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Quick way to empty your pockets.
Jamie spent tons of money on them. But what he found with a few of them was he bought the limited runs and sold them off later down the road when he realised he didn't actually want it or didn't need it. And he made a fortune. Because
it's a collector's
so limited, you can't get them again, So
people will pay, collectors will pay so much money for things. If you've got the one thing that someone's after, and it is limited edition, people will pay through the nose for it.
Well, if they did like, I don't know, right, let me think of one. If they did GoldenEye, for example, like it's an N64 card, but a limited run one, clear cartridge or something a bit different with all different packaging, I'd buy it.
Yeah.
Definitely, do you know what I mean? But it's interesting to see what games they get. They're not like your run-of-the-mill games.
No, they're pretty niche, quite niche, I would imagine.
Yeah. So, those were the two other things I wanted to mention. It wasn't really a section, just a bit of a mop-up.
Yeah.
Any other kind of special mentions that you wanna give to any games that we've missed out? Because I've got
not so much special mentions, but food for thought. I want to point.
Food for thought.
Food for thought. It's been a long day, Mark. Food for
thought.
Food for thought. I still can't say it. I've slowed it right down. Food for thought. Food for thought.
Yes. So what's the food for thought?
Games that are remade / remastered.
Yeah.
And have been right in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
For the best part of a decade.
Yeah.
So there are games that come out every year.
Yeah.
But classed as a new game. Essentially, especially now that we've gotten to a stage where really graphically not too much is changing year by year.
Yeah.
Stuff like typically your sports games.
Yeah.
So like FIFA, easy one to pick on.
Yeah.
FIFA every year, same game.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's football. You can't change too much about it.
Yeah.
They try and change things with the way that it's defence this year or it's attack this year,
and they add an extra mode in.
These games are sold every single year for £50, £60, whatever you're paying. Which edition you're paying for.
Yeah.
For essentially the same game.
Yeah.
Which is either got a new skin on it to make it look a bit more polished, or has very slightly tweaked the controls for.
And the only thing that really keeps these games going is the fact that football and whatever other sport change every year.
Yeah, I mean, we've
got a whole new bunch of players, whole new kits, new
which could be in this day and age easily done with a patch.
It
right?
could be
so easily done with a patch.
Well, there was a little while ago they were saying that the next FIFA was going to be the final FIFA, and then they would just do add-ons to it.
Yeah.
But it's never happened.
They make too much money.
I think the problem is they make too much money, but this is the other thing. About 90% of their money that they make from FIFA is from in-game.
Yeah.
So they could get away with it. It's not. Yeah. It's not beyond the realms.
But my kind of thought is, why as a consumer do we not blink an eye at that? Like, not just FIFA. You've got FIFA. You've got NHL, pretty much all the sports games. Yeah. Even to an extent, and it's a little bit more of a difference, but to an extent, like Call of Duty has been the same. It's not. It's
but then the problem with Call of Duty is they changed it. Yeah. And they removed like single player mode. I think they did in one of the recent.
They bring it back this year. That was last year.
And
they removed it.
That was like where suddenly the idea of it being different.
It shook
was messed up. Yeah. And everyone was like, "No, I needed the same. I need a story." Do you know what I mean? Whatever. So
But it just strikes me as, every year we'll buy the story. Yeah, for Call of Duty, I'll give you that. It changes each year, but fundamentally, the game,
the multiplayer,
it's nothing. The multiplayer is nothing that couldn't be. You couldn't add just download new maps each year. You're playing essentially the same game, and have done for years and years and years and years and years. We just picked up before we started the podcast. We picked up Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
And we're playing it. It feels like exactly like Call of Duty now. And like if you played Blackout, it's exactly the same game. But obviously it's got new maps and stuff. I'm not denying that. I just think there are a lot of games that we just are like, oh, that's new. Like this is out this year. That's new, and we kind of just.
Well, we get FIFA every year.
Yeah.
Like without fail.
Just don't know why we, as a consumer, just don't. It doesn't bother us. You just assume, this year. Here's another 50 quid, here's another 50, 60
And
quid.
you end up, the funny thing is, with these games, you end up doing the same thing in them every year as well. So, anyone that buys FIFA every year, generally, will just be playing Ultimate Team every year.
Yeah.
Right? Ultimate Team, when you buy the new game, you can't bring your Ultimate Team stuff across from the old one.
Oh, no, of course not.
So you're starting from scratch. And it's like, why do we do it to ourselves? Because you could keep playing the year before's one.
It's same.
Keep playing it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And your team would still be amazing. So it is interesting. I think the reason a lot of us do it is because of the updates.
Yeah.
I think that's the key thing. So with football, if we kept playing 19 forever, it would stay. We'd be stuck in the year 2019. You know what I mean? Rather than if we buy FIFA 20, you're gonna have all the new kits, and they don't put that stuff into the old game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So that's where they get you as a consumer to.
Absolutely.
I need the latest. I need the new.
Yeah. I need my team to be what it is in real life.
Yeah. So essentially, from that standpoint, it is cosmetics only, which they could quite easily just update with the patch.
Well, look at Fortnite. Like, it's a really good example of how this is where we've gone in gaming, where they've got one game, and they just keep changing it.
Yeah.
It's the same game, so this is where FIFA should go, right? It should become a digital-only game.
Not FIFA 20, FIFA 21, just FIFA.
Whatever. It should just be called
Just
FIFA, and it should be free to play, right? The basics of the game.
Yeah.
And then you add stuff on, like Fortnite, because it is cosmetics. You could buy the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to see the Bundesliga. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So when you buy FIFA, you're getting Premier League, Bundesliga. You're getting all the different leagues.
Yeah.
And so if you think about it that way, if I just wanted to buy the Premier League and just play in the Premier League,
then that will only cost you $24.99
exactly
every 3 months.
knowing EA would not surprise me.
Yeah, but sorry, I didn't want to throw that section in there.
I think that's a great shout.
It's just
well done, Tom.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think actually that's covered it. So unless you got any other business around remakes, remasters, are you happy with what we covered?
I'm really happy. I just want to say how much of a great time I've had.
Good.
Genuinely missed doing this last month. It was a very, very, very hectic month for us both.
Do you know Idris would have loved this?
He would have.
Yeah.
You know what? If you're out there,
shame.
We'll be the bigger man, Idris. If you're out there and you're listening, you want to be part of the show, get in touch. Let us know. We will have you back.
Yeah. Come back.
Have your people speak to our people.
Yeah.
All is forgiven.
Yeah.
We'll move on.
Can be done.
Did you want to do some? Have you got some community stuff?
So let's do community. So I'll just start with Dapper Gooner from Discord.
Jason, yes.
Jason. You know Jason very well.
Member of the community. Not a very nice guy.
He said remakes are great if done correctly. There's many a classic from the old days I'd like to see on current gen with upgraded gameplay and control systems. It's the control systems is a big deal, isn't it? That's why we love these remakes. So he makes a good point there around that. But he said, I'd love to see a remake of Driver.
Oh,
one of my absolute faves in PS1. Driver, I said back to him, as long as they took out the intro level. I don't know if you remember Driver.
Notoriously difficult to get out of that
the
car
underground
park.
car park.
Yeah. I think it's something like 99.8% of players never made it out of that car park.
I'm pretty sure it probably one of them was me. Right? Or someone else did it for me. That's an amazing shout. What game?
Good game though.
He's also said Bomb Jack.
Bomb Jack?
Bomb Jack was a game from back in the day.
I don't remember. I might recognise it, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, I think you'd recognise it straight away. It's a great game. I don't know how they'd remake that though. Interestingly, Ghost and Goblins was the other one. So Ghouls and Ghosts, or Ghosts and Goblins, whatever you want to call it. There's been a few different versions of that because you had Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the Super Nintendo, but there hasn't been
recent.
I can't think of anything
recently.
No. So that remade would be amazing. Especially with really sort of updated graphics.
But would you have to keep that exactly the same gameplay?
I think you'd have to.
Because it's known as being one of the, if not the hardest game of all time.
If you suddenly went mental and tried to make that 3D, for example, it'd be awful.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be a 2D scrolling.
Yeah.
But they could do a lot with that. Do you know what I mean? To make it... Even if you think of some of the newer games that are very atmospheric, sort of indie games... I can't think of any, but they're very much using the shadows and using all the backgrounds and make the depth. Do you know what I mean?
Oh right, so I know what you mean. So it's like multiple the background of where you're looking, it has got like different layers to it.
Yeah, and then it moves as well.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff in a new Ghouls and Ghosts game would look fantastic. Like I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Jason's comments. Dapaguna.
And then we've got Oggy, Neil's written in, and he has said, let me just get to the, both remasters and remakes have good and bad examples. In my opinion, good examples of remasters are Wipeout, the Amiga Collection, or Mega Collection, Shadow of the Colossus, which we talked about earlier. Bad examples of remasters in brackets, in my opinion, are Silent Hill HD Collection and Deadpool, which I've not played.
Oh, that was on the PS3.
Right. In my opinion, really good remakes of Resident Evil 2, which is his favourite remake ever, and the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy.
There you go.
Yeah, so there you go. And also we've had...
Did we mention CTR on that note?
I don't think we did mention Crash Team Racing.
That was probably the most recent.
Yes, played it. Played a little bit of that. Really good.
Yeah,
really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's really good fun.
Funnily enough, Ali has also written in, and she says, "Wipeout." I keep saying Omega Collection.
Omega, same thing.
Same thing, isn't it? It is always her go-to. The best remake for having done, at least in my eyes, very little's changed in the game itself, but just packing the game with content people know and love. So nothing really changing from that.
Yeah.
Just
you can't really change Wipeout. You'd ruin it.
Nothing really changing from that. Just added everything in and polished it up, and happy with that.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you as always to everyone who's got in touch with the community aspect side of things. You can get in touch with us via the TNM pod on Twitter. We've also can find us on our email, which is going to be
it's podcast.
It is podcast.
.tnm@gmail.com.
There you go, guys. Please email us as well. But I think that's our community section covered. Should we tell the lovely listeners what we're going to be talking about next?
A subject that's very, very dear to my heart. Sex and violence.
In video games.
Sorry, in video
games. Yeah. No,
well, I almost forgot that.
The amount you've been going on about Manhunt and Dead Space, I've started to think, geez.
Perfect lead-in.
Yeah.
Like Manhunt.
Yeah.
Perfect lead-in. I think you should try and play Manhunt in between if you can. I think you can get it in the PSN store.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure it's in there, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see how
it's the original. But, so sex and violence, like where's the place for it in video games, and what has it caused, or what do people think it's caused? Yeah, what's the common thinking behind? Do you guys think that it's got a place in games, shouldn't be in games? Is it down to how is it used in gaming? Any thoughts on that sort of topic of it? Yeah, we want to hear from you guys. But that's so many examples. There's so much to talk about. Oh, there's going to be loads to talk about. Yeah. Loads and loads. Awesome. Right. Well, I think we're done. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed
us being back on the airwaves. Hopefully corporate has enjoyed it.
Desperately hoping corporate.
Desperately hoping they've enjoyed it. Yeah. I've had a great time. I think you've done a great job.
Definitely not putting this out unedited.
100% you got to put it out unedited. 100% you got to put it out unedited. Don't change a thing. Thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.
See ya.